All right, guys, welcome back. 5K coverage brought to you by Puckett and Landon. Today's our Scuff 5K, and we're giving away 4 $100 gift cards to Scuff Gaming. So, if you guys want to win one of those, make sure you're following MLG on Twitter. Pay attention to the tweets. Hit it with a retweet, of course, and, of course, watch the matches. So far, Landon, we've seen countless upsets here in this bracket. It started as early as the round of 32 with Rise getting upset first, but since then we've seen teams like Elevate drop out, Envy just fell, and we also saw TK upset by Rise, or excuse me, vVv just a moment ago.
Yeah, some early on upsets. I didn't really predict some of these teams that we've seen, such as Rise or Elevate, to really get down early, but if you're down 1-0, it's really easy to lose 2-0, or I mean, at times, you realize that you're this far down and you can't really just make it back up. So unfortunate plays out of those teams, but see what moves on in the tournament. Maybe we can see some up-and-comers and maybe in the grand finals possibly.
I have to say the match I'm most excited for, and I'm a little bit biased with the lower half of the bracket. I want to see Denial. They've already beat Orbit, right? So I want to see them get past Optic Nation, and I want to see FaZe get past vVv so that we can see the Denial FaZe matchup. A little bit of bad blood, former teammates going up against each other there. And the top half of the bracket, though, it's anyone's game. You see SE, the team that upset Rise, playing TCM. And then RGS, the squad, B. Nelson, Wolf, and the boys upsetting Elevate, will have a shot at either E6, Optic Gaming, or Epsilon.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities to make it. I probably might see Optic Gaming move on, but we could also see Epsilon possibly take it. I believe we're seeing some issues here and there, but I want to see some of these teams perform, especially a team like Enigma 6 is always interesting to see, but I'm definitely like you, hoping to see that FaZe versus Denial matchup, with the recent trades that have gone on.
I'm still thinking it's going to be Optic FaZe in the grand final. I think that's still my prediction. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see E6 cause another upset. Taking out Envy, no small feat there. It looked like they had pretty much control throughout Game 3 in that search and destroy. I think that might be one of their big strengths throughout the night. We're going into best of 5s, though, once we get into the round of 8. So I think that's going to be a little bit different than being able to steal a single respawn game mode and then steal a search and destroy. This next match we're going to see, it's starting off with Retreat Hardpoint. It's FaZe. It's the boys from vVv. Can vVv slay and hang with FaZe on a map like Retreat, in your opinion?
To me, that all really comes down to the play of John. John is 100% the main slayer for this vVv team. Fierce can go off at times. Felony's kind of a streaky player, but we can also see, Fizzer rock some kills as well. So to me, they all have to be playing consistent to beat a team like FaZe in respawns and whatnot. But to me, John is 100% going to lead the way if they want to, take this best of 3 series, which is, containing of a lot of respawn. So to me, I'm looking at John 100% if they want to, at least take the first game.
I'm excited to see how well Fierce is playing, as you mentioned. Yeah. Nagafen sent me a quick invite. Don't leave your room.
Okay.
Let me see if I can jump into this Optic match before it gets going. It looks like the one player we'll be waiting on here. It's going to be from Optic. They got Formal, they got Scump, they got Krim. Karma not in the lobby, as it's Swanee, Royalty, Nagafen, and Remy. Hopefully they're able to sort that out and get this match going pretty soon. Keep an eye and let me know when your party fills up as well.
Okay.
We're showing whichever one looks closer to starting.
Right.
That's the worst part of these 5Ks, is the downtime in between matches and if there's ever an internet connection issue. But I'm wondering how well Epsilon is doing, because it looks like they're going into Biolab uplink. How did they fare in that hard point is the big question for me.
It would only be safe to assume Optic probably took it, but, if they took that first game, that's massive for them. Uplink, definitely a game that can go either way. But if Epsilon was able to take that first one, that was definitely a very big momentum boost for them.
I'm looking through. Can't find anything on Reddit quite yet, but I'm with you. I assume that Optic was able to win that first game. Uplink, not the best game mode that I've seen from Epsilon recently. Biolab could be a good map for them. Swanee known for his battle play. If they're able to stay inside, I think you can see some dominant play from the SMGs here from Epsilon, but I'm a little bit worried when you're going up against Krim, Scump, and Formal on a map like Biolab. Epsilon's really going to need to be on point. They're going to need some big games out of Remy I've seen him kind of go quiet in the kill feed. If he can get it going, I think we see a chance of Epsilon forcing an S&D, and on Riot Search and Destroy, I'll be honest, anything could happen.
Oh yeah, anything is possible in the Search and Destroy game type. And, you know, like we've seen in the past, we've seen teams get upset. This could be possibly another one that we could see possibly. But in my lobby, I believe we're just missing 2 players from vVv. So that one could get underway very soon. But like you said, Optic Gaming versus Epsilon looking to be a good one, hopefully. Maybe we can even see a final game of Search and Destroy. I'm
going to go ahead and bounce back to your lobby. I think we're better off here with vVv and FaZe. Of course, this is a best of 5 most likely, guys, going into our round of 8. I'm going to pull up the matchup here and see the official rules and settings throughout this. And there are the maps. All right, so let's take a peek here. We are going to be going into Hardpoint Retreat. Game 2 is Search and Destroy on Recovery. Had some exciting matches on this. Last time I saw Recovery, it was a round 11. Nagafen took out Remy. Epsilon blew their comeback. Parliament, the new map, is back in here for game number 3, and then we'll go to Biolab for Hardpoint and finish things off Search and Destroy Riot once again. Your matchup here, John, Felony, Fears, and Fizzerp going up against Attach, Zuma, Clayster, and Enable from FaZe. FaZe considered one of the top teams so far in the Pro League, arguably the only team to challenge Optic Gaming, but after watching FaZe in their first matchup against Optic, I don't know if you caught this match, Landon. FaZe, they looked really close in the first Hardpoint. They went down to the wire. Karma clutched up on the final hill. Optic Gaming won it, and after that loss, they seemed to kind of fall apart in the next 2 games. They got 3-0'd by Optic Gaming. What's the potential of this squad, though, in your opinion?
You talking about FaZe?
Yeah.
I mean, they have 2 world champions on the team, and Attach and Clayster. You know, Enable's a very good vocal leader, and you know, in the past that we've seen, and Zuma's been known to go off as well. So I think this team has a very good capability of being one of the top teams in the game. But like you said, it all comes down to once you lose, how can you pick that back up, and how can you, you know, react after you lose? And you know, teams can always win, but it's how you lose, how you can come back from that is the main factor. But I think this FaZe team has a very good potential to be one of the top teams in the game, like I said, full of great and very well-known players. And you know, having 2 world champions on your squad isn't just a normal thing. So yeah. I think this team can be very good.
It's a very small group of players that have that title, world champion. Yep. FaZe lucky to have 2 of them on the lineup. I got to ask, though, when you look at this squad, who is kind of the most important player in your eyes?
To be honest, I'm going to probably say either Attach or maybe even Clayster. I know they're both new pickups. I think all these guys are very important to the lineup. You know, Enable's kind of that guy who can, you know, hop in hard points. Clayster and Attach are normally going to be those Slayer or those guys who just walk around and get kills. Clayster's battle is one of the best that we've seen in the entire game thus far. So, to be honest, I would say it's probably on the slaying factor of how Clayster and Attach can do, but it also resides on a player like Zuma who doesn't necessarily go off every map, how he can respond. So I think if all of these guys are going off at one time, they can absolutely dominate. But if they're not necessarily doing the best, that kind of relies, I would think, on the slaying of how Clayster can do.
Understandable. I was looking through, and it looks like we have TCM advancing. They will be moving on into the round of 16. So their matchup against RGS here in just a moment. Also waiting to see Denial start their matchup against Optic Nation. Excuse me, this is the round of 8 right now, as we are down to our last 10 teams. Optic and Epsilon still waiting on Karma to finish that matchup, is the only match in round 3 now lagging behind. It's going to be a good day. Final 4. My predictions here, I think you're going to see. Let's go back to it. Oh, match is starting. Thank you, Ron. Retreat Hardpoint. No more Phil talk. Let's get right into it, my friend. FaZe going up against vVv. This is a major game for vVv to start off hot. FaZe so far showed to be a little bit of an emotional squad. When they're on their up, they're feeling great. When they're struggling, not so good. And that's going to end up in a draw. So we'll fill for just a little bit more. Final 4 predictions before we get started here, Landon. Go ahead and pull up that bracket. I'll give you a second. Who do you have it making it into the final 4 teams?
Oh, man. I definitely can see Optic Gaming being one of my main teams to make it in the Final 4. I know I've spoken about them a lot thus far, but I think Optic, if they can beat a team like Epsilon, which I think they're up right now, but if they can beat a team like E6, they'll definitely be in that Final 4. Regarding another team, I could probably say maybe it looks like TCM is going to have that spot maybe in the Final Four as well. And looking at some other squads, I definitely think Owen has that possibility. Owen has been a very good team.
Owen over Denial?
Oh, that's true. They do have to play Denial. I didn't think about that. Oh, man. So who do I have this for? I have Optic Gaming.
You got Optic. You got TCM over RGS. I don't think anyone would disagree with that, although RGS has already upset Elevate and DT.
Oh, man. And then FaZe versus...
Then you got FaZe vVv.
This is pretty difficult. I'm going to say FaZe beats vVv and locks a spot in the Final Four. Then I'm going to say that it's also Denial in there as well. So Optic, TCM, FaZe, and Denial, I think, is what I have.
And looking at TCM's bracket, let's go to my screen real quick, Ron. Look at TCM's run. It hasn't been the most difficult so far. Mutiny in the first round, that went to a game 3. We're able to win that. Then they had to meet up against SE. SE, remember, it was players like Scruffer, Precisely, Ransom, and Dangles. Then RGS is going to be their matchup for top 4. There's $840 on the line for second place, $1,800 on the line for first place. And B. Nelson, Assault Wolf, and Ken looking to put an end to their run. But TCM, I'd have to say, pretty solid bracket to start off their Sunday. Best of luck to everyone still remaining in the matchups. We're going into our game right now. It's Retreat Hardpoint. FaZe ready now to take on vVv.
Yeah, hopping into here to game number 1. Going to be a Retreat Hardpoint, like you said, FaZe versus vVv. I'm looking to see what FaZe can do off the bat. Like you said, they can kind of be down on themselves if they don't start off very hot. So I'm gonna ask you guys. I'm gonna ask you, who do you think you want to start off with first?
I want to see Clay. I always want to see Clay. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't blame you.
When I watch this FaZe squad, it's Zuma and Clayster are kind of the most entertaining players for me to watch. Attach, he's good, but he's so in the action constantly that you never get to see a big string of kills from him. Normally it's like 1-1, 2-1.
As soon as I watched Clayster, just went and punched his teammates. So looks like we have a couple of things messed up, but we'll get into the game eventually. I'm sure everyone's really enjoying us, talking about FaZe and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
players.
So I think I'm gonna enjoy watching some Clayster, especially as he smacks his teammates. Not sure what went wrong. It looked like only 3 of the 4 players loaded in properly for the vVv squad. So
darn it, John.
John, get your internet fixed. We'll do it for you if you want.
Oh man,
that matchup is seconds away. I'm also clicking through to see what other games might be going down. Looks like Optic's matchup still yet to start as they are waiting on Karma. Going over to Denial. Replays and the boys are in the action. Let's go over to Replays' stream here for a minute while we wait on our game to kick off. As I say it, our game is loading up, but here's a look. Currently trailing. Denial all over that kill feed, though. Should be making their way right back into this game.
Okay, we gotta rotate.
This, of course, Denial Optic Nation right now. If you want to check out either replays, I saw Moch's stream was also going on. We'll also keep the action up for you right here on MLG.TV/ESR. Game is loading for a 4th time. Looks like all the players in the lobby, including John. Life is good. We're ready to go, Landon.
I'm excited, man. I guess normally 3rd time's the charm, but maybe 4th time's the charm for
Sometimes
these guys.
You need
I'm
a
hoping
4th.
to see what we'll do. I know you said you want to start off with Clayster. We're going to hop on with him as we start into the first game of Retreat Hardpoint. Clayster normally going to be your backside player, going to be rocking that AR off the break, as you're going to see a couple contestants going down early on. FaZe going to knock down 2 of the vVv players as they're going to hold down some hill time off the break.
Yeah, that first battle won, and you can see already 8 points and counting going in favor of this FaZe lineup. It's going to be so tough for me not to say Denial when watching Clayster. I feel like he became that face of the organization. Now joining up with FaZe. This is an all-star lineup. Attach, a monster at COD Champs, is opening things up 5-0. Let's go over to Enable, though. Enable kind of switching in between the Bal and the SMG, kind of the flex player for this squad. Not expected to drop the kills. Same thing can be said for Zuma. Zuma constantly on the flank if you talk to any of the pros. Very frustrating to play against. but he is another player who loves to mix up which weapons he's going to be running as his primary.
Yeah, going back to Zuma, like what you said, I think Zuma and maybe Aqua are two of the most annoying players to play against. They're constantly on the flank. They're trying everything new, against their enemies and stuff like that. I think they can definitely cause some problems. But getting back a little bit into the action, currently going to be contested. Felony trying to hold down some time, but he will eventually drop. FaZe currently in the lead as we are in Turtle Hill at the moment. Enable going to drop. Kills going back and forth. Overall, looking at the kills thus far, pretty even action. So I'm pretty impressed. Not to say we're only like 2 minutes into the game, but
right.
Not SB, excuse me, vVv holding their own pretty well.
Yeah, it's a little tough there with John SB and FaZe SB as gamer tags. Fellas, time to switch it up. John, nice pick there on pool wall. Is going to be moving through, cut down from above though. Enable still sitting inside the statue, is going to be milking every second possible. 13 points remain, and FaZe and Fears are not going to give it up without a fight. Battle 1, they're going to collect a little bit of time, but the big battle is about to go down across the map. Let's go over to the man on the flank. John giving his teammates some nice spawns charges right into the lobby.
Yeah, John going to be that streaky player. Always is able to get kills, it seems like, but great rotation coming out of this FaZe team. Able to hold down some time early on, but John rushing in, trying to grab some kills, finding a big battle outside, but Enable is going to win that one. You're just going to see a lot of kills go down. It's really just, I just kind of hop in third person occasionally and just kind of watch the battles from an aerial view at times. But some big gunfights going down. FizzUp and the boys from vVv trying to hold this one. Because if you go down early to FaZe, they can definitely make you pay for it by adding on some more points. And if you're down 100 points at the half, of the game, about 5 minutes left, it can be very devastating when you're trying to come back in the series.
Here you have the action. Fears trying to stay alive. Everyone pushing inside this lobby. We are just going to sit in our third-person cam and show you the action. 42-67. This is going to be all about contention. And there you see the red squad, FaZe, able to break through. We'll go over to Clayster, who's starting to heat up 13-10. He is the one in charge of pushing out the rotations, and you can see he's going to be making his way into 3 players, all stacked up down low. Clay puts 1 bullet into John and Fears. Nice cleanup action, as his teammate Zuma is now charging in to back it up.
Yeah, some big gunfights going down currently in this bar hill. Attach and Zuma trying to hold this one down for the moment. Some players rushing in. Attach just trying to clear these guys out. Fear's going to be left in the backside, trying to just stay alive, trying to wait for his teammates to kind of resemble back. But looking at Fears' angle right now, you just see the stack of FaZe players just trying to hold down this hill for as much as possible. But 2-piece coming in there from John. That's exactly what he can do. John, to me, is a very, very important player to this vVv team. He can definitely get kills, and he can ultimately lead to opening hardpoints and making kills available for his squad. So still pretty close game thus far with about 6 minutes left. Only a 20-point lead right now for FaZe, as we're getting ready to see a rotation to this next hill.
Donnie was trying to get it done down low, picked up a bit of time, but it looks like, again, FaZe is going to get the final seconds as the rotation belongs to Fears first. Big fight up top. He's going to win that against Zuma, and there's no more pressure from FaZe. Normally you see a coordinated effort. This is 1 by 1. Fears set up to do the dominance from up top. Felony is going to fall, and it's all up to Fizz and John, last man, rotates over, only to find the hill belonging to 3 FaZe members.
Yeah, that's exactly what FaZe can do. You saw vVv have a pretty good rotation. They were just watching every single angle, and FaZe was just able to get the clutch gunfights that they needed. Won just about every single one of them, and were able to trade very effectively. But on board with Clayster, going to fall inside that hard point, but Zuma remaining strong, and there are only going to be a couple players approaching. 1 player coming from backstairs. Zuma trying to win that one, able to do that very effectively. But pretty close game thus far. We will be heading back to the, I believe that's the, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like grass or middle for that rotation coming in here in just a minute. Enable going to grab those last couple seconds of garbage time. But what I've seen from FaZe so far, they've been managing to hold the hard points for the last about 10 seconds. And I think that's why they've kind of managed to kind of scrape points here and there. And, with that very early on hill push, they were able to grab some points there as well. So, no surprise, FaZe currently up. Good amount of points thus far, but vVv holding their own a little bit here and there.
Yeah, you can see about a 50-point deficit right now for vVv. They're not out of it, but they're starting to slip further and further as this game continues. We're past the halfway point, down to our last 4 minutes and 30 seconds. If you're vVv, you need to stop giving up easy time, and that's exactly what FaZe is collecting there in the courtyard. John and Fears trying to work their way over to the new Hardpoint. They know the new one's going to be coming up at Statue. This is where they could get back in the game. For now, though, they got to contest every second they can in the courtyard, and that's Felony's job. As he falls, 13 seconds left. This one continues to go back and forth in terms of control, but FaZe looks like they're going to win it. Now it's the battle for rotation.
Yeah, I love that play out of FaZe here in this current hard point, at least for the time, as the rotation is getting ready to come in. But every time a player dies, they wait for that player to, or they wait for their teammates to respawn, and they'll just push, and they'll have the other teammates who have previously died rush back in the hard point where they previously were. So great plays coming out of FaZe thus far, currently in the Turtle Hill, as FaZe are trying to hold down some kills, as no one's going to be in that hard point for the moment time being. But FaZe are going to fall, as looks like FaZe holding their own pretty well, up by about 60 points thus far. About 3 minutes left in the game. vVv have to pick it up at this point in the game. You don't want to be down, even 60 or even 70 points with a couple minutes or a couple hills remaining. You want to get these times, down. You want to grab some seconds, but unfortunately, Clayster trying to hold him off, and he's doing that very, very well. Currently sitting at 25 and 21. vVv just trying to push as much as they can. Yeah,
it's a big difference here is defense. FaZe is kind of breaking hills at will. You can see just 4 total defense. Felony just picked up their 4th one. They're trailing by 72 points, 3 minutes left. This is not looking like it's gonna go vVv's way. It's not over yet. They are getting some nice back spawns, but they have to take over right here, right now. FaZe, nearing the end of the game, is so close to finishing. Felony with a nice 3-piece though, looking for a 4th, set up perfectly, is gonna find it, can't finish the kill. John outside doing damage is also gonna get dropped. FaZe, just like that, able to charge in, get 4 down, and retake the hard point.
Yeah, it's exactly what they can do. And they do it so effectively as well. But I got to point out, Felony has 13 captures, doing very well in that OBJ role, at least for this game. But despite the the amount of captures he has, the team is still down, and his team just hasn't really been able to hold hills very effectively. Just as I said, that Clayster rushes in all guns blazing, just trying to make sure that no time going in favor of this vVv team. As long as you're contesting the hill, they won't grab points. So Clayster able to do that for the moment. But 10 seconds left in this hill. Next hard point getting ready to come up. You can see rotations coming in, I believe, here out of Attach, as he is just trying to rotate over to this next hill to grab some time. FaZe, very opportune time to close out this one.
73 points. Divide these 2 squads. You can see the time. Just a minute 45 left. Clayster getting down low. This is terrible news for vVv. They got to stop the clock. And they're just playing way too passively outside the hard point. No one's contesting. Every second here is going closer and closer for FaZe. And this game is getting further and further away for vVv. I think it's safe to say this one is basically about done right here, as Clayster refusing to die. Attached there on the backup, still gathering points. We're definitely going to hit 250 if they keep playing like this.
Oh yeah, over a 100-point lead, minute left, minute 10 seconds left, 1 more hard point remaining. This one's been over for a little bit of time, but FaZe is really just ultimately running circles around them. I noticed FaZe really had the hill for a very good amount of time. As soon as they realized that vVv was contesting, Attach immediately went on the flank, was able to pick up 2 or even 3 kills at times. But with only 1 hill remaining, looking at some kill totals, Nabel, 40 and 25, definitely doing very well in that slaying category. FaZe setting up perfectly for this final hill. Only 25 seconds left in this game before it's over automatically. But FaZe ultimately winning this one in a very dominant fashion.
Oh, they're getting to 250 as well. I see it happening. Enable set up top, as you mentioned. Gonna get the flood. Nice kill coming in from Felony, but Clayster's right there to start trading. 2 more players up top. In comes FaZe, and you're just gonna see Enable working with Clayster. Gonna clear house. Attach up top as well. Everyone clearing the lane. 250, 128 is going to be your final score as FaZe locks it up in game number 1, doubling their opponent's score.
Yeah, 250 to 128. Definitely not the start that vVv wanted, but looking at the kills, like I said, Enable dropping 40. Clayster was 1 away from dropping 40, and Attach 12 captures. And while he didn't really was in the hill for a long time, I think Attach was definitely the main factor for this team. Not just looking at capture wise, but I saw him flanking constantly and getting in those hard points. But FaZe looking like the more dominant team for sure in this first game of of a respawn.
Tough time in respawn for vVv, but if we've seen anything, we know they're pretty powerful when it comes to search and destroy. They have a chance to tie things up when we come back.